Welcome. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We have a pretty simple agenda tonight. We're going to go over some highlights from this past year. We're going to talk about what's coming up new in 2023, and then we'll open the floor for questions. So this is a very special year for the Center of Gravity. 2023 is going to mark 10 years of the start of the CoG. So this is something big. This is something to celebrate. There aren't many other spaces of similar scale that aren't affiliated with a college or a company that have reached the 10-year mark. So we definitely have built something really special here. So it started as a Facebook group back in 2011. It eventually grew into a physical space in 2013. Between the soft opening on February 9th and then our ribbon cutting on May 6th, we signed up 88 members. So since then, the community has only kept on growing. We've expanded into this new space, into the Quackenbush building. A whole bunch of other stuff happened. But above all, where are we at today? So currently, our community is 242 members strong. We took a little bit of a dip during COVID, but memberships rebounded by early 2021, and it's continued to grow ever since. We've really built a really eclectic, diverse group of makers here. We have students to retirees, artists to engineers, hobbyists to businesses. It's become a fantastic brain trust of knowledge of how to make things. So you can see here our most popular membership levels, our Supermaker, the 24/7 access membership level being the most popular. And among this group are 29 businesses operating here out of the CoG. Also, in that time, we've hosted, as in the past year, 52 social nights. And ever since the beginning, since 2014 when they started, over 490 social nights. So that's been a great event where members can come socialize with each other, and then future members can come get a feel for what the community is all about. So here's our current staff. Which is structured a little bit differently than it has been in the past. So I am your operations director. So I'm responsible for all of our day-to-day operations. So not just with equipment, but things like finance, HR, other things like that. Elizabeth is your programming manager. So she is responsible for coordinating all of our events, all of our programs, and all of our classes. So you might recall back in July, we had sent out an announcement that our executive director, Michelle Madigan, would be stepping down towards the end of the year. So during her time here as a team, we were talking a lot about our structure and the goals we need to accomplish. And we realized that we really needed a different set of skill focuses in order to be successful. So with that, we decided to break down the executive director role into two smaller roles, a part-time development manager and a part-time community developer. So in October, we hired Grayson as your community developer. So this role is responsible not only for customer service tasks, so giving tours, answering emails, fixing billing issues, all that sort of thing. But it also, and probably the more important part, is to take an active role in developing our community. So if you haven't met Grayson yet, please introduce yourself soon. So a big part of his role is to understand what all of our members are working on. And so that way they'll be able to make connections between different members who are working on similar things that might not be here at the same time. And our development manager role, so this is a job that we just posted very recently. This is going to be in charge of all of our fundraising strategy, developing relationships with sponsors and new donors. So it's going to be a very outward facing role. So if you know anyone who might be interested in that role, please share it, and we would absolutely appreciate the referral. This is our board of directors. So this has been a fantastic group of people that I've had the pleasure of working with. They've been instrumental in helping us figure out our new staffing structure, making sure that we stay on mission and also that we stay in good financial shape. And as a reminder, we announce our candidates for the board of directors in the summer. Usually it's around July. So when those announcements come out, please take a time to look at the slate of candidates, get to know them if you have a chance, and to participate in the voting process that will happen at our annual meeting, which also takes place in the summertime. Having an experienced board of directors is really essential to making sure that we can continue to stay successful. So we started as a 100% volunteer-run organization. While that's changed a little bit, that we still absolutely would not exist without our incredible amount of volunteer participation. So this is a list of some of our most active volunteers, everything from our zone coordinators, our instructors, our ambassadors. I absolutely cannot thank you all enough, but I also am sure I have missed someone on this list. We've all looked at it many times, but if we have forgotten you, please, we apologize, but your contributions are absolutely appreciated. Our home in the Quackenbush has been serving us really well these past couple years. So we're still occupying about 15,000 square feet of space. Some of that is available to be rented for storage and also for business operations. We're currently renting about 800 square feet of our space as innovation spaces. And those spaces encompass about 7 on-site companies. Across all of our storage options, we're renting out 57 bins, lockers, shelves, pallets, carts, pretty much whatever people need to store their projects and materials as they work on things here at the CoG. We're currently offering access to over $195,000 worth of tools and equipment. That's a lot of stuff. This year, in particular, with some support from the Rensselaer County IDA, we were able to purchase some additional equipment that has been requested by local businesses and manufacturers. So specifically, this includes a Tormach 3-axis CNC mill, a laser-based 3D scanner, which will be set up soon, as well as the software to manage really large mesh files and a computer that will be able to handle all of that. And also a more powerful wood lathe. One of our members has also been very gracious to loan us his CNC plasma cutter. That's another piece of equipment that has been asked for a lot. That adds digital fabrication of sheet metal parts to our repertoire. So that's currently being set up, and hopefully that will be available soon. So here's a very simplified overview of our draft 22 financials. So these numbers are not totally final yet. It also includes some of our major streams of income as well as our major expenses. So in short, our income is above our expenses, but barely. And this has kind of been our story for the past several years. So on the income side, grants and memberships, they make up the bulk of our income. Whenever anyone asks me, how do you guys even afford this place? My kind of basic summary is it's 1/3 membership dues, 1/3 or grant from Empire State Development, and another third sponsorships and smaller donations. On the expense side, rent and payroll top the list. We have a very large facility that's also very complex, takes a lot of attention to ensure that it is ready to go for our members 24/7, 365. We would not have gotten to where we are without the continuous support from our sponsors and donors. So really, thank you very much. So of major note, back in 2021, we were redesignated as a state certified incubator by Empire State Development. So this is another 5-year contract that commenced earlier this year, and that is our largest grant of $125,000 a year. So this is what primarily empowers us to support all of these startups and small businesses that are looking for assistance in getting off the ground and continuing operations. Also, special thanks I want to go out to the Center for Economic Growth. They've been a fantastic partner for several years. The Rensselaer County IDA, Valon Studios, and also the New York Council of the Arts and the Seymour Fox Foundation for their multi-year continuous support. We've offered a wide range of programming this year. Our zone orientations. So these are our basic safety briefings that are required before anyone can use equipment in the zone. Our members completed 171 orientations, with the most popular zones being the wood shop, 3D printing, and the laser cutter. And that definitely tracks with how often those zones get used. Our incubator events have also been very popular. So we've had 179 attendees across our Hatched Inventors and Entrepreneurs meetups, as well as our Food for Thought speaker series that typically happens once a month. We've hosted 81 classes. The most popular of that has been our Silver Rings class. Also towards the top of the list is our Metal Shop Zone office hours. So office hours are a drop-in program where any member can come and ask questions of the zone coordinator. Usually it's, hey, I have this project I'm working on, but I need a little bit of help. I need some advice. So that is, so even though the metal shop, not towards the top of the orientation list, this shows that there are people using it, but there's a lot of demand for one-on-one assistance. So we're going to be expanding office hours in the future to provide those opportunities for help with projects. Also, our children's STEAM programming has been very popular. So we had over 320 children attend our STEAM Powered Saturdays events. And then we did 10 special day STEAM workshops with local schools to help continue STEAM education. And that's something we're definitely going to continue doing and to expanding upon. In addition to our typical programming, we hosted a couple of special events. We partnered with the Rensselaer County IDA and the Redemption Christian Academy this summer to launch STEM Trailblazers, which is a program with the intent to expose high schoolers to actual STEM careers and to hear primarily from voices of underrepresented backgrounds who are actively in those STEM careers. Two of our members, Yomar and Selena, they spearheaded a Sunday Makers Market in November with a focus specifically on recruiting vendors from diverse backgrounds. Our Victorian Stroll event this year was one of the most well-attended stroll events that we've ever had. We saw over 3,000 people visit the space and to attend our market and to take self-guided tours. We had over a dozen volunteer docents here to help explain what the CoG was and what was going on here. And so having those volunteers here really was the only way we were able to have that volume of people manageable. We also saw the premiere of Maker and Resident Jerry Huang's sculpture, Relational Matter. So that exhibition, its premiere attracted a full house of 40 people for that interactive exhibit. And in partnership with the Arts Center, we were able to be a partner site for their Troy Glow installations. We were able to reconfigure that installation to something that could be enjoyed by the public through our front windows. So that's kind of some of the highlights from this past year. So now let's take a look at some changes that are coming and some new opportunities in 2023. So while not perhaps very exciting, I think one of the most important things that we're going to be embarking on is our new strategic plan. So we really haven't done much of a strategic planning process since we first moved into this building back in 2015. So it's time we revisit it. For those who are not familiar with strategic planning, it's a relatively standardized process that's used among nonprofits and businesses alike. The whole goal of it is to take time to review our strengths, our weaknesses, as well as the needs of the community, so we can develop specific goals and then plans to achieve those goals that we'll be looking to accomplish over the next couple of years. So we're going to look to get started as soon as we hire a development manager. And the process will primarily be driven by an outside facilitator and will be run by our part of our board of directors as well as our staff. But community input is really key to making it successful. So keep an eye out for ways to participate. There'll be surveys, focus groups, things like that. So there'll be plenty of announcements going out when that process begins. We'd really appreciate your assistance. It's also been a few years since we last took a look at our website. So we're gonna start to make some revisions, give it a look over. We've gotten a lot of feedback over the years of some additional features that people would like to see, also some user interface improvements. So we spent most of this year, both our staff and our volunteers, working on a lot of back-end improvements so that we'll be able to implement a lot of those features. And also, very special thanks to Troy Webb. They sponsored a reduced cost website strategic planning session. So that allowed us to take a big picture look at our entire web infrastructure to make sure that we were going forward with decisions that were both technically feasible, but also financially feasible. Starting this month, we're also going to be adding some new tiers of membership specifically targeted towards businesses. So I started working on our incubator programming about 3 years ago. And over that time, I've gotten to see a few businesses go through our incubator program, talk with other businesses about how they've used the CoG, what's worked well, what hasn't worked well. I've also had a chance to visit other incubators in the state, and talk with people about best practices, really leverage the NISTAR network that we're a part of. And based on all that feedback, resulted in making the change to add these specific membership levels. So for anyone looking to use the CoG for personal use, we'll have our legacy membership levels, nothing changes there. But anyone looking to use the CoG for business use, we've created the incubated maker and professional maker levels. So what are those about? So the professional maker level is going to replace our prototyping center membership. So it has some similar features, but it's going to add some specific things that have been requested by businesses. So these memberships, they'll have 24/7 access. They'll receive a 25% discount on equipment use rates. And big picture, these terms are negotiable. So starts at $150 a month per member. And we have a sliding scale for discounts for multiple employees. But if there's one thing I've learned is that every single business that comes through here is different. So we'll work with each business to tailor a membership that will meet their needs. These members will also be allowed to use our business address as their legal business address. They'll be allowed to be included in our vestibule directory. And they'll also have the ability to rent innovation spaces. So this is going to be another change going forward. Anyone looking to rent floor space specifically to set up a desk and to operate a business, they will need to have one of these higher level membership tiers in order to do that. Well, no. So in that case, there will be no change. Also, instead of having a separate membership and incubator program as we've had in the past, we've combined these two into the incubated membership level. So the program itself is going to be very similar. It will require an application, it will require a registered business, and it will require a business plan. It's going to focus on a very specific project for that business, so related to either prototype development, transitioning from prototype to manufacturing, or scaling up manufacturing. It'll be a limited time program, so the maximum amount of time a startup can spend in this membership level is 2 years, because the goal there is the startup needs to focus on growing and evolving their business. So there is a time limit on being able to do that. In addition to everything that the professional maker gets, the incubated maker will get dedicated hours with a manufacturing mentor, dedicated hours with CoG staff, access to tax benefits, some software licenses, and some more benefits. So this starts at $135 a month, but if additional mentor hours are needed or other services, we can adjust that as well. So we made these changes mostly in response to feedback that we've gotten from businesses over the years. And the real goal is that we want to make our space more attractive to businesses because we do feel that that is an area where we have additional capacity that we can take on. So going along with these changes, we have about 500 square feet of innovation space that's available to rent in addition to what we've already rented out. We also have the ability to rent out office space upstairs in the Quackenbush building and bundle that in conjunction with a membership. So we've had 2 businesses take advantage of that in the past, and it's worked out really well. Another new feature that we're going to be adding is prototyping services, specifically for these member levels. So one of our members, Alex, who is a machinist, he's branching out into developing his own fabrication business. And to kind of help soft launch that, he's going to be offering prototype development services to CoG business members. So Alex has his own CNC mill, CNC lathe, and a lot of experience in fabricating metal prototype parts. So that'll be a fantastic resource to our startups and businesses. Our Maker in Residence program is going to continue for 2023, thanks mostly to a grant from the New York Council on the Arts. So this funding will allow us to recruit 3 more MIRs, and just the same as last year, it will be open to any capital region resident that makes less than the area median income. So this will provide free membership, free space rental, classes, a small stipend, as well as a materials budget to help the maker bring to life some sort of community-focused project. So we would really appreciate your help in spreading the word about this. We'll be accepting applications soon, and we'll be doing it on a rolling basis. So keep an eye out for announcements for that. You also may have seen in the news that we are the recipient of $150,000 from Troy's American Rescue Plan Act funding. So this funding is specifically going to go to support our Community Access Fund. So this fund, we started several years ago, but in 2020, we made a real concentrated effort to expand it. It's primarily used to offset membership dues for low-income individuals. And thanks to this funding, we'll be able to expand the number of people that we can serve. We're going to be able to start offsetting field trip costs to Title I schools, and we're going to be able to expand it to help Troy-based businesses. So I think it's also worth noting that out of the 84 applicants for this particular pool of funding, we were one of 15 awardees. So I think that really says something about our maturity as an organization, but also that the confidence that the city has in us in order to execute these projects. So with all of this success, that absolutely deserves a celebration. So our 10-year anniversary plans, they're still in our infancy, but at the very least, we know we're going to have 2 kind of hallmark events. So very first, we're going to have a membership celebration. So this is going to be either sometime in February or sometime in the spring. It just depends how the timing works out. This is going to be a very informal event. It will be for members only. There will definitely be food, maybe robots, maybe a Tesla coil, hopefully no explosions, no guarantees.
How about homemade knife with wood?
Not quite. So we already have some board members that are ready to lead the planning for this. If anyone's looking to help out, we definitely appreciate your assistance. Later in the year, we're going to be hosting our very first gala. That's something we've never done before. And if there's a year to start doing it, well, this would be the year. So this is primarily going to be a fundraising event. So it's going to be a much larger scale. And we're definitely going to need help with the planning committee. So there will be calls to action coming out soon for that. So with all of that going on, also all of the classes and other events that will be coming up, these are the best ways to keep in touch with everything. So our monthly newsletter is where we try to put our most important updates. Our primary social media accounts are Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And then also on LinkedIn, we're going to be focusing most of our business-focused content. So make sure you follow our page there. Before I open it up to questions, I also have a couple asks that I would like to put out to our community. So number one, keep spreading the word. Word of mouth has been our most powerful marketing tool. So we definitely need to keep that going. Bring your friends here on tours. I've seen some people bring their dates here on tours. So that's could be a fun thing to do. But most importantly, we want to, but I'm just saying, it's what I've seen it happen. But so most importantly, though, we want people to know about our Community Access Fund and our Maker in Residence program. So we want people to know about the opportunities that are available to them. There's also this misconception out there about what types of people are allowed to be a maker, and we really want to help fight those stereotypes. Everyone has the ability to create. Everyone's allowed to be here. Everyone has a space here to create something special. For our members, keep taking the initiative to make this space as great as it can be. So many of our shop improvements have been the result of members just taking the initiative to fix tools, improve processes, improve layouts. It's also been really heartwarming to see all of the people taking the time to share their skills and their knowledge with other members, because that's really a key to help make sure we have a really successful, interactive community. And finally, we really need help telling our story. So we really could use more photos and videos and stories, not just of the projects that happen here, but of the people that are here and that make the CoG the CoG. So please share your content with us. If you post anything on social media, you can use the tag Made at the CoG. That's something we keep a look at, and we'll reshare those things when we can. Whoop. So with that, overall, I would say the state of the CoG it's pretty strong. There's definitely some opportunities for improvement, but in true maker fashion, we've taken a really limited set of resources and built something totally amazing out of it. And it's really only a foundation for what we're going to be able to achieve in the next 10 years. So thank you all very much for everything that you've done. All right, so we did have some people submit questions ahead of time. Anyone is in Zoom, if you would like to put your questions in the chat. But first, I guess if there's anyone in the room has any questions, happy to field them. Adam in the back.
Actually, pre-submitted, but I think that you.
Sure.
So maybe you want to take a minute and kind of share a little about some of the like context. There's an ecosystem that helps in the could you maybe tell us a little bit about your thoughts about opportunities where in the past you guys worked with another group like Innovation Garage, like BizLab, anything like that, whether it's like cross-pollination of like best practices or like, systems that we developed that they developed that, and we all have similar struggles, right? There's growing information. So I don't know, maybe get a minute to talk about something like that. Or
yeah. Absolutely. So for the people on the Zoom, the question was, what are some examples of ways the CoG has interacted and worked with other development organizations in the area, and what are some opportunities that we can continue to do that and improve? So there is a whole ecosystem of incubators, accelerators, and the like that are not only funded by New York State, but also other organizations as well. So for the capital region, Innovate 518 is our hotspot, and what that really means is they're the organization that's responsible for coordinating activities between the various different incubators and accelerators. So there's a biotech focused incubator, it's in Albany. Innovation Garage is going to be looking at setting up an incubator. That's why I've been talking with folks at RPI who are looking to restart their incubation program. So really we've been having a lot of conversations. Certainly, we have with the Innovate 518 group, we have a monthly meeting where we all get to talk about things that we're working on, so we can collaborate in that manner. But as far as going forward, really just keeping the door open to conversations, right? So we're all talking about kind of what our plans are, what we're all thinking, so that we're all offering something unique and different, and that in a manner that we'll be able to really holistically support startups in the region. Anyone else?
Your development on LinkedIn?
It's not up on LinkedIn at the moment. I know it's on our website. And we're right now, we're just sharing that amongst our network, depending on that. And then our next phase, we're going to be doing all any paid advertising to get that out. Let me open up some other list of questions that were submitted. So one question, so does the CoG partner with businesses to participate in the Fuse Hub Innovation Challenge? Short answer, yes. So you'll see this with a lot of state funding, is that it requires a nonprofit partner in order for businesses to go after particular grant funding. So that just helps not only keep businesses honest, but also to ensure that there is a support structure in place to make sure that the businesses are on the right path to execute their projects. So for any businesses looking to partner with us, usually we're going to require that they're going to participate through our incubator program in some manner. So those are definitely conversations we're open to having, but I would also caution that takes a lot of work ahead of time. So the sooner we can start having conversations about partnerships like that, the better the result can be. Another question we had, are there any plans to upgrade the facilities to accommodate ceramics or hazardous chemicals, fume hoods, ventilation, et cetera? So specifically for those items, there aren't any plans in the works. Certainly on the ceramic side, there's a lot of other local resources between the Art Center, Waterbrook Potters, Broken Mold Studio. And then on the ventilation side of things, just in my personal opinion, the complexity and the cost associated with that, just not worth it at the moment. However, questions like that are the absolute perfect thing that should be brought up during our strategic planning sessions, because that's where we're going to want to ask, are there needs in the community that aren't being met? And are there resources here at the CoG that we should be putting forward to meet those needs? Or are there things that we're currently working on that maybe we shouldn't be focusing on? So any questions like that, definitely hold those in your pocket. And when we're doing strategic planning, reach out. That's a great time to have those discussions, because we really want to get the whole community feedback for that. Any other questions? No. All right. Anything else in the chat? Oh, we got one here from Mike. For incubator members, you mentioned manufacturing mentors. What kind of mentors are you looking for? Great question. So we're always looking for mentors to help out our startups, really anyone with manufacturing related experience. So not just people who have experience as an engineer, we're always looking for electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, people with very niche experiences, but also people who have experience in fabricating, specifically in prototyping. Anyone who's worked with vendors, whether they be local vendors or overseas, negotiating all those contracts, that's definitely a question we get asked about a lot. But really, it's a very broad scope. Anyone who has experience in manufacturing that they might be able to share that knowledge with new businesses, that's the kind of mentors that we're looking for.
Related question. What do you mean by expanding the open hours?
So right now, not all of ours. So the question was, what do you mean by expanding office hours? Really, so right now, not every zone has an office hours. And that's just been a limit of time for some of our volunteers. So what we'll be looking to do is recruit additional volunteers to kind of assist the current zone coordinators in hosting open hours. So it might not be necessarily the zone coordinator who's doing the office hours. We might have a volunteer who's knowledgeable in that subject, just hosting office hours on that subject. All right. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, yeah, we got done in under an hour. It's surprising. But thank you very much, everyone, for coming out. And my email inbox is always open. You know where my desk is. Always happy to have a conversation about any topics, any questions at all. Thank you again. I'll see you all around.